You ready?
Yeah, the final budget.
All right, Commissioner Harris. We'll get back to where we left off. You had the floor.
Ad that was on our website for hiring this person, and I would just like to, I don't know what line item to put it in, but I think that we need a $10 minimum wage for our county employees. I don't think we should expect somebody to do that kind of work for, how can you live for $8 an hour? And then you've got other people as well. Jerome has talked to a lot of the librarian assistants that are making minimum wage, and you can't keep people for that. And I think $10 is a good starting point for us as a minimum wage for our employees. And I don't think you're looking at a lot of money from what I've looked at. I don't think it's going to add up to enough to hurt us. You know, we already cut some tonight out of the attorney's line item that'll go back into our fund balance. So I think that money alone would more than cover what we're looking at doing. It's just I don't have the records to know what the figure would be because I don't know how many hours they are. But yeah.
Do you need a second?
Yes, we'd need a second.
You got it.
Well, hold on a minute. That wouldn't really be a budget amendment.
I will say that we did, based on Mr. Fitzgerald's request, was $17,725 library part-time. Part of that.
This would be, I think, for all county employees, including the ones that work at the waste sites. I know a lot of those guys make less than $10 an hour, and people out here throwing tires. And so I don't know what line item it would go in, but couldn't we just take it out of our fund balance, whatever that amount would be? It's not going to be a... Would you have an estimation of how much it would be, Mr. Mayor? Any idea? So.
This includes the library employees as a whole, right?
All county employees.
All the county employees.
Okay.
All county employees. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we could always make an amendment later on for the amount of the money, I guess, when he come back with us, if we approve.
We could always make it, we have an exact figure what that would be for you to consider. Commissioner McAllister?
Looked at something similar to that. I mean, we could work with the mayor's office on that. Our committee could look on that. And obviously, I don't think we do anything tonight. But, I mean, if you want to do something tonight, I don't know where we go with that because I'm not sure it is. But we have talked about it before in the past.
With the budget, you know, I just want to make sure we approve this before the budget gets passed because I don't want it to come back and say, well, we don't have the money in the budget to do it. That's why I wanted to bring it up tonight, to make sure that it gets done and gets funded. We have money in our, fund balance that could we not move some of that out to different line items? So we could always come back at a later date and amend more if need be. Yeah, I just hate to see us put it off and put it off. I know how things can happen, and yeah. I just think while we're working on the budget, it's a good time to get it done for these people.
Commissioner Wheeler?
One thing I think we need to figure out how to address is that if we put it in, if we were to do that, and put it into individual department line items, I don't think we have any way to set a minimum countywide. You may tell me I'm wrong. You might know more about this than I do in your former careers. But I'm not sure we can set a minimum countywide that would be enforceable with respect to the constitutional officers. And the concern that would raise with me is that I'd want to get some that, they would do it, they would apply it that way rather than give it to someone else or create their own.
I think from looking at the employees that are making this, I think they all work either at the library or through solid waste, I think is mainly the ones that would influence the most, from what I've seen by looking at the pay charts. Am I correct on that, Mr. Mayor? They would mostly all fall under under his office, so I don't know of anybody at any of the other departments that actually make less than that I've seen.
Commissioner Malone?
Just in some of the conversations I had during the break, I know one of the concerns that was expressed is that if you raise, to Commissioner Harris's point, if you raise the minimum wage for, say, the guy that's having to deal with tires, but you don't raise the $12.50 guy that's got a CDL license driving around, that the differential between those two changes. And so I just wonder about that, because you've elevated one position but not the other. Oftentimes when this happens out in the private sector, you know, you essentially end up raising all the hourly employees because you've got to maintain the differential between the different job categories.
I think as a county, surely, Commissioner, we can do better than $8 an hour.
I don't argue with that point.
I mean, I don't know anybody, check around and see where they're hiring. The sheriff just said he has some that make, starting out in different part-time places like $8.75. He says he'll have no problem in going to the $10. I don't think any of our constitutional officers would buck on that. I think they would be happy to know that we've set that. So, I've made a motion. Second, I guess if you vote it down, you vote it down, but I think it'd be pretty bad.
Well, help me just a minute as I write down our motion, and that was to bring all county
All
employees,
county employees to a $10,
full and part-time.
yes.
Before we vote, I'd like to have some idea, are we talking that this is going to have a $100,000 impact on the budget, or a $500,000 impact on the budget? I don't know. I don't know.
Commissioner Harris, let me ask you a couple of questions. Will that, when we're voting to move everyone to $10, will you want them to come back next month with the figures for us to vote on, or?
Well, I think we need to move them to $10. From what I've seen, I mean, surely our mayor, they can give us a close figure. I mean, you're not looking at a massive amount of money here. The employees that will have their part-time, and you're looking at $1 an hour for part-time people. We've got a fund balance tonight. We just cut, $36,000 out of the attorney's budget that's going to go back into our fund balance. And I would dare say that would cover it more. If I'm wrong, maybe our finance administrator could speak up. They see the paychecks come through, so it's not a tremendous amount, but it will be to those people. I think they deserve it.
So it's not just full-time, it's part-time as well.
It's anybody under $10.
I don't know of any full-time that makes under $10.
I just thought maybe it might
I've
be a
looked
good
at
idea to put, if you're wanting everybody to be at $10, I think.
That's what I thought I said.
It was.
That the minimum would be $10.
Commissioner Carriger?
Part-time or full-time.
Mr. Chairman, I'm wholeheartedly agree with that. I really think the improvement on us, let's just find out how much it's going to cost the taxpayers. And to me, that doesn't seem like it's that long for something that's been going on for a long time, but I'm in agreement. $10 and then I think it's deserved. For the taxpayers, we need to know what it's going to cost. I would suggest, let's take 30 days instead.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen, please. Yes, but let's ask the attorney just a minute. This wouldn't be a budget amendment, and we do have a motion on the floor. So I see the discussion, but will we need to come back after we vote on the budget part and vote on this? Because we're really not amending the budget because we don't know how much to amend the budget to. Yeah, that's.
Time go on.
I just don't. It would, yes, it would be several different line items, Commissioner Wheeler.
I don't know if this is possible or not, but could we, this is a question really for, Mr. Miller, could we create a line item and move a certain amount into it? That, I understand your concern is making sure we're committed that we're gonna do it and not have the situation come up later. Could that be done tonight where we move money into a line item that's designated that we're gonna do that? Then let you all get the numbers, and then it'd have to go back through budget and the commission to move it to, appropriate line items of those figures, because we have to know which office holders need what amount to do.
And which line
Make that
items
happen.
would need to go in.
Whether
With the 34,000 that we cut out of the attorneys, I think 300,000, Mr. Administrator, is a far stretch from what we're looking at here. I think that was a number that you, yeah.
Should be any employee that can.
So you really have three funds that you're impacting.
I would say, part of my motion would be that 34,000 that we cut to go into that fund.
What happens if we find that the cost is more than that? Once you increase somebody's pay, it's increased.
Well, we're not sending it to anybody to do that with yet. We're just saying that much is set over to do that. So, yeah, you're right, we could commit to that tonight, because we don't have those numbers.
Back to the office, what you got in relation, we're talking about 50 employees, you're talking about a couple hundred thousand. On an annual basis, and then you got, Social Security, whatever else goes in there.
You're talking about,
Again, I don't know how many people there are. Question you call, right, Commissioner?
Yes, I'm sorry. Commissioner Fitzgerald, it has. Is there any objection to calling for the question? Commissioner Tester?
I think we need to specify what we're.
Yeah, I think,
I think Commissioner Wheeler was on a good idea. We can put some money in the budget aside in a line item, and then we can do a budget amendment next month or
I agree.
once it's figured out, put it in the right place.
Just the way the motion is phrased, I'm afraid that we're just setting a rule or an unfunded mandate for setting a policy that's not funded, and I don't know if this is a budget amendment that we're voting on. So, I mean, I don't feel that it is. Now, I'm not saying we can't vote on this very item after the budget is voted on. But what I'm telling Commissioner Harris, if he wants to restate his motion a little bit to be considered to add money into the budget, or rephrase it, similar to setting that amount of money aside, or wait till after we have the budget discussion and then vote on it.
Well, if we set a certain amount of money in it, and it doesn't fund it, I guess, I don't know how we could word that. I just want to make sure it goes through before, because I don't want to come back next month and we say the budget's been approved, and, you know, I'd like to get it done this year. But, you know, we've got 34,000 that we've already cut. I mean, is there not any way that somebody could look at our computer system right fast and give us an idea of what we've spent in part-time pay for the past year?
That still should be a budget item, shouldn't it?
Setting that money aside would be a budget item if you wanted to set it aside to reserve that money to be used for that purpose.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Carriger?
the math says that $34,000 would pay for about eight employees.
Are you talking about 8 employees working how many hours at what
Well,
rate?
I'm figuring about $2,100 a year. It's $2 raise, 2,100, 200, and then you divide it into 34, you come up with about 8 employees.
At how many hours each?
I'm figuring about 2,100 hours on an annual basis.
For 8
$2
people?
an hour.
Yeah.
That's, the math says we could give about 8 people a raise. If we're talking about $8 or $10.
But we don't even know really how many hours these people are working, so. So we need a number, but I'm afraid if we go on without,
Commissioner?
You have the library in the back, how many people do you have, if you don't mind asking, how many people do you have under $10 an hour?
The library's already in there.
well, that's not, you know, I'm glad the library's in there, but it's been nice, before you put the libraries in there, that you think about the sheriff's department, the highway department, and these other people, they deserve the same, so it's, that, to me, makes my point even stronger. If we got the libraries in there at 10, how can we justify these other people, we're not giving them 10?
Mr. Deakins, you've got,
We don't have to, not make a list of things, I wish not this up 4 years now. We say something to a study, 14-year camps, and come. And we've been working for 4 years, we got people up. Basically, you got a CDL, you start at $1 an hour. Okay, so, I will say this, that I'm not against it, like $3 an hour. I think it's great, but we work 40 hours a week, that's 2,080 hours a year, so every dollar, that's $2,080 a year increase, plus 30% tuition. So that's the key.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? So, you know, we have been making adjustments for the last 4 years, we got our people moved up. At the time we were studying, we had people making $9 an hour. So, basically, you know, I just wanted to see that information. I think the courthouse wants 37.5 hours a week, something like that, so it's some of it's nice. But, that, I just wanted to give that information, that we've been working to get our people up, compete with 5 million. We're starting CDL people out at 12, maybe 12, 15 based on experience. And you got top companies hiring people at $15, $16 an hour. It's tough. You know, to hire qualified people that can pass the drug test and that can work. You get people that want a home steering wheel and lean on the shovel, but you want time to get to work, your little farm boys, they're gone. You know, that's really not how it works. Like Debbie said, I'll get there every once in a while, we get good every once in a while. I just want to know, we've been working with our people, we're thinking of this way.
Nope. So it doesn't affect you at all, then, is that right, Mr. Deakins? Okay.
helps our case.
Yeah, it does, don't it? Yeah.
I have a question about,
Commissioner Tester.
the money you said was in there for the library, was it specifically to move everybody below $10 to $10, or was it just to give raises? Improve part-time. No specific amount, but to improve part-time.
So the library's already covered, and the highway department, there's two we've checked off the box, so it's, Exactly.
I'm just curious why the sheriff's department's part-time people weren't afforded the opportunity to raise, but the library people got.
We're trying to do that.
Trying to change it now.
Yeah.
Any idea how many people that would be, how many part-time people you have? It was, but now we're trying to put some in to take care of it. Any idea how many people you're talking about, or, okay,
I mean, I know people probably got some, but
Okay.
I don't know
that's fair.
exactly their hours. Not all of them necessarily.
Right, okay. But that's good.
You gotta behave a minute.
Should be, you know, it's hard, it's hard for $8 an hour. When I seen that ad, I couldn't.
Yes.
You know,
Commissioner Ford?
Example, folks, I got a part-time position that's open. It's been open for over 3 years. I can't get anybody to even apply for it. It pays around $11 an hour starting. Correct, chief? I can't even get nobody to apply for it, so, I mean, you know, we made a $60,000 job here tonight. I don't know what, a few more dollars make any difference.
Chief may recall, we increased that line item, 20,000, 30,000, part-time. Chief, we did increase that line item, 20,000, 30,000, based on your request.
Well, we
Part-time.
still cut it part-time. You took it back up.
Well, put it in your,
It was 48 or 46.
maybe give it to, Mr. Ford, if you really didn't spend very much on line item last year. Maybe the rate line item.
Well, I think before we start,
I didn't see it earlier.
I think we're trying to decide policy, and I know we're all, would like to set some money aside for this. If we could come up with a number. Johnny come up with a good number. He said, it took about 20, what was it, Johnny? You said about 2,000 and what?
Well, if you work 40 hours a week, it's based on 2,080 hours. A year. The hours would be 2,000 plus 13.
Commissioner Carriger?
Mr. Chairman, I do hope we get around to voting on this, and if it fails, I would hope we would then send it to our employee benefits division for them to look at and get a report back to us in 30 days. The only thing bothers me is we just don't know the final number.
I think I would like to see us set aside some money for that this evening, and that way that would give our Employee Benefits Committee even more leverage to work with.
But, Mr. Chairman, looking at our fund balance, I can't really find it on this. Well, I know we got 34 we cut tonight out of one line, but what do we have, what line would I need to look under to see what we're projecting on this budget that we could move into that line? But I can't locate it on.
Mr. Meredith, what do we have in fund balance that's available? Where would we have, how much would you have to increase the, fund balance into the budget?
Part-time and full-time employee that's making under 10, or add the difference between 10 and whatever they're making.
Yes, and not to really spend that money, but to set it aside.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have that data in front of me. I can't see if we've got 10 employees or 50 employees making under $10.
Right. But how much fund balance is available at this point in time?
If we're looking at fund balance, our projected availability at the end of 2020 based on the current, projections and the current budget, before you modify it today, it's a little over $1 billion.
And you'd have a $34,000 that the commission cut tonight. So you could take out, if you needed some more out of fund balance tonight to set in reserve with that 34,000, you could do that.
Correct. And I mean, if I remember right, we've actually reduced, several line items in the budget.
We have.
We've moved, 34,000 out of legal, we've moved, almost a little over 200,000 out of the coroner. So those dollars be reallocated to some other line item.
So there would be options, if you wanted to increase the 34,000 and just set that aside until the Employee Benefits Committee could look at it and figure out how many employees it actually affected, if you wanted to set that money aside tonight.
What amount do you recommend, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Commissioner Harris, I'm going to yield that question to you.
Well,
I did want to
it's hard
make
to
sure.
it was hard to get any answers. We got 200,000 plus we've got 34, so
Well,
we've cut tonight, is that right?
well, just because you move it into reserve, Mr. Meredith, doesn't mean you have to spend it, correct?
I can't see that being that much from what I've looked at. I didn't think it would be this hard to get an answer as to how much it would be, but,
As far as, yeah. And any answer that I gave would be as good a guess as you could make. Because I don't know the numbers either. But if we wanted to set aside some money and show a commitment to doing that tonight, we could. But at least, yes, Commissioner McAllister.
Mr. Harris, because maybe if you wouldn't look at amending your motion to $34,000, put the line item, and let the employee comp look at it next month and come back and report back next month. Or not you, but our committee here, and see where we stand. At least 34,000, that'll help some, it may not help, we don't know, we don't know what it's gonna be.
It's a start.
Well, maybe a start, maybe we may say, hey, we've got too much, we don't know yet. At least it's a start.
Maybe had to be amended next month, right?
Yes, yes.
that's fine with me, 34,000. In a line, what line will that go into, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Meredith,
Well, what I would recommend that you put it is in, Department 58,600, which is employee benefits, and the part-time line item. That way that's clearly indicated and established in the budget as to where and what that is.
portion. Whichever portion of that 34,000 would have to be, whichever.
Is that a line that nothing is spent out of directly?
That is, yeah, 600, whatever, the part-time line item, where all the rest of it is, yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing
We don't even have that account, it's not even,
I got you.
but
Nothing is spent out of that directly, that holds it in that place, and then we can move it over.
You want me? Second.
I think you wrote it down.
So now, Mr. Meredith, the question I have to ask you is, would we be moving that money? We wouldn't be moving that money from the county attorney's line item because we've already cut it, correct?
that's correct, that goes to the 6,000.
Okay.
What
So-
we do is we just add in that 58,600 for the 60, well, some of it can be full-time, some of it can be part-time, but if we just do the 58,600 part-time,
So the motion be moving to add 34,000 to 58,600. Employee benefits, part-time. And the Employee Compensation Committee can you bring those numbers back next month, Commissioner McAllister? Is that acceptable, Commissioner Harris?
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Fitzgerald, are you still the second on this motion, or Commissioner Light?
Yes, I am.
I called for the question about an hour ago.
Oh, that's right. But it didn't turn out, it didn't work. I'd had to drop the ball and punt, you know? So, yeah, I had to drop the ball, so I mean, it was an illegal motion, or is a legal motion. See, Commissioner Harris, I blame it on you after all, okay. I'm about to resubmit Commissioner Wheeler up here to the stand. All right, so we have a motion and a second, moving the $34,000 to 58,600, the employee part-time line item, and the employee compensation committee will bring back those numbers for employees, the number of employees to next month's meeting for us to consider moving the minimum pay rate to $10 an hour.
If I may to clarify then, we're basically setting aside some money to serve as a pay enhancement for those employees earning less than $10 an hour. We're setting that money aside for then the Employee Benefits, Compensation and Benefits Committee to review and consider and come back to the commission. I mean,
Yes.
nobody's getting, those employees are not yet getting a pay raise effective July 1.
No, no.
So it's really just a set aside.
And we know that we're setting this money aside. I think, you know, it may take more than $34,000, it may take less. But I don't think that we need to sit here to argue about the number tonight because we really don't know what that is. We can argue next month about that. So lots of good discussion to come about that next month. Did you call for the question, Commissioner Tester? No?
That's wrong, dude.
Oh, it's Commissioner Fisher. All right, Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen.
Giving you a hard time, ain't you, Jerome?
If you'll go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you announce the vote. 14 yes, 0 no, 1 absent. The resolution passes. The amendment passes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right. Any further questions or discussion on the budget as amended? Does anybody want to call for the question?
I don't want to call the question, I want to make a statement or two. Since we were here all night, I might as well just take advantage.
Well, let me turn on your microphone. Okay, Commissioner Ford?
I noticed in this breakdown, this budget, and I may be wrong, if I am, somebody correct me, you correct me, Mr. Mayor, or you correct me, Mitch, but it shows, the way I looked at it, and I don't remember what page on now, I've seen so many pages, but, shows that you get somewhere in the neighborhood of a 17% rate increase. Am I correct or wrong, from last year to this year, yeah? Wrong? Wrong. Can you explain that to me?
I actually ended up making less this year than I made last year.
That's good, you're on the right road. I don't know where I've seen that at now.
Did his mic go off?
You just had a drastic increase.
I think each of the commissioners, Commissioner Harris raised that question earlier in the email. Each of the commissioners got a response to that.
I didn't get one. That's why, I guess that's the reason why I didn't know. I didn't get thanks for that.
I'll double check my group email and respond to what we got from your email address.
I did ask that question too, Commissioner
I
Ford.
didn't know if you did. I didn't know you did.
Yeah, the line item, I think it went from 77,000 to 93,000 to your salary now. Yeah, so that was her position, what she made, and then you're making that much more than her. But, but your salary before was somewhere else in the budget. Is that what I understood you to say? But your salary is 93, the same as the elected officials now? Yes. Yeah.
Any further discussion, questions, motions?
I'm just curious after that last statement, if it's now set at the max, then how did you make more than that last year?
Because it's director of finance and administration, I wasn't director of council budget. And that was what we had budgeted for the prior year. So, when that changed, it was, okay, you can do that, or, you know, take a lower pay rate, or.
Because you were serving in both roles.
And now I'm serving both.
Is that not one job description, or is that two?
No, there's actually two jobs.
But you're at your maximum salary. You couldn't make any more because you're making what the elected officials make now. Is that correct?
Not without, you know, commissioner and mayor working on some kind of stipend that I don't have to do it, I'm not sure.
But your salary, I guess, is set by the mayor. Is that correct? I mean, the mayor sets your salary.
I would, yes, it would be more than your law.
And I think I looked last year, you're making like $300 less this year than you were last year. Is that right? Well, but at the max, okay.
Any further questions?
Question.
Questions been,
Resolution 190606, we've got,
yes, we need to vote on it as amended.
as amended, yes.
So the question's been called on Resolution 190606 as amended. It's a resolution making appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies, Washington County, Tennessee. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen, please. Huh?
Long time ago,
Yeah, we've had a motion on that a long time ago.
I think the long
Yeah, we've just been voting on amendments since 8 o'clock.
What are we voting on now?
We have 12 yes, 2 no, 1 absent. Resolution passes.
Our next and final resolution, I told you this wouldn't take very long. Resolution 190605, a resolution adopting the budget for Washington County, Tennessee for the fiscal year effective July 1st, 2019, and ending June 30th, 2020. Found on page 172 of your packet. This resolution comes on the recommendation of the committee and as a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Davenport to approve the resolution. Discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote. 11 yes, 3 no, 1 absent. Resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler, anything else that, to report off that budget committee?
That's all we have, unless there are questions.
Have any old business this evening? None on the agenda. We do have Resolution 190608 is a resolution approving the election of notaries public for appointment or reappointment for Washington County, Tennessee. Motion made by Commissioner Ford, seconded by Commissioner Carriger to approve the resolution. Discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen, please. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote. 14 yes, 0 no, 1 absent. Resolution passes.
You want to go home, or?
No new business to report. The cutoff date and time for next month's county commission agenda is Thursday, July the 11th at 12 noon. Just remember that July the 3rd is our committee meetings day. That's on a Wednesday, the Wednesday before the 4th of July. The committee secretaries are asked to do their own minutes this month. Our staff will be away, so if you will need to keep your minutes and make sure that your agendas are in early. So if you want your agenda out, get it in early. So, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Commissioner Light, seconded by Commissioner Carriger to adjourn. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. We're adjourned.